to Menspiration on Lead Africa TV. Menspiration is not a lecture, it's a conversation, a reflection on how men understand leadership shaped by culture, family, and silent expectations. Today is not about blaming men or rejecting tradition. It's about pausing long enough to ask, who taught us what it means to be a man in the first place? It's a version of masculinity that we inherited still working. So, wherever you are, lean in and let's talk. Welcome to Menspiration on Lead Africa TV. Hello and welcome to another episode of Menspiration, the men's show geared towards talking about the issues confronting the modern man. And as usual, I'm in the studio with Patrick Otiekuboedu, the president of Spearhead Consult. He's a life coach. He's an NLP practitioner. And he's also a father, a husband, and a pastor. Also in the studio is Richard Akita, also a pastor, father, husband, grandfather, and the CEO of Launchpad, a leadership development company that does wonderful things in this city and in London. And a third member of the panel is Robert Benning. He's the chief learning strategist of Tempo Advisory. He is a much sought after leadership coach, facilitator in this city. If you don't find him at home, you'll find him in a corporate boardroom or chilling with his wife somewhere in the city. Gentlemen, it's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Now, you would agree with me that masculinity was taught to most of us when we were growing up as control and toughness. Bemansu. No, that was the definition of being a man. And in our traditional settings, we have things like even when a woman buys a gun, she must keep it in the man's room. These kinds of things made a lot of men grow up hardened and tough, thinking that they need to show that to show they are men. And for those of us coaches who counsel people and work with them intimately, we are beginning to see the negative impacts of such a phenomenon. Now, what men were not educated on is that real masculinity is about self-control and not dominance. Now, it's about respect and not demanding it. It's about respect and not shouting at home simply because you've lost some money on a business deal. That is real masculinity. Now, a healthy man knows how to choose the right friends, the right attitude, and the way he shows up and the way he treats his woman. That is what a healthy man does. A healthy man knows how to handle anger and does not allow it to lead him into shame and social, what's the word? The lawyers say social opprobrium. A real man recovers from his mistakes without letting it shut him out for life. Today we'll be looking at masculinity. Is it about control? Is it about toughness? Because it is something that we are seeing at the workplace. It is something that we are seeing in homes. It is something that we are seeing in relationships. Gentlemen, once again, you are welcome.
Thank you, Mike.
Now, you know what to do. Like this episode, subscribe to it, and then share it amongst your friends so that we can all grow together. All right, so gentlemen, growing up, how was masculinity modeled to you?
It was modeled in a very beautiful way.
You are lucky.
My dad rarely raised his voice. His presence alone told you the stability. One of the traits I picked up from my dad was that irrespective of what happens, he would say to you, we will solve it.
Wow.
So he didn't express himself emotionally as I have. In fact, I was aged 33 And that was the first time my dad actually hugged me.
Wow.
And said he had wanted to do that, but he didn't know how to do it.
Because nobody taught him how to do it.
But he saw how my wife and I would hug our children and affirm our children. When he turned 80, that was the first time he then said to me, "I love you, son."
Wow.
So even though I said he gave me the example, I understood that he loved me by the provision, by giving me a roof over my head, by paying my school fees, by
In
having
his own way.
In his own way.
In the way he knew how
Yes.
to. Okay.
So you see, when we take on definitions from outside our sphere and we try and live that, it conflicts with us. It's like saying that African men or Ghanaian men are not romantic. But show me a Ghanaian man who's from Teshi and in love.
Yes.
He becomes a poet.
Yeah. We
So-
compose songs.
Yes. So my dad he modeled something that made it easier for me to build on. So Patrick, in some of our conversations, spoke about stability. That was not masculinity. But I then have had the privilege to see my dad break down and cry like a baby.
Wow.
And I was 16 years old when my dad broke down. And he was crying. And I was looking at him, and my world was confused because this was the rock of my life. And to see him break down and then to share with me some of his innermost fears changed who I was. That was at age 16. It was so pivotal that when I had the opportunity to go to the UK with my younger brother, I stepped into a role of a father overnight at the age of 17.
Wow.
But the way he had remodeled it for us, it was easy for me to be able to follow. The day you hear him, my dad has actually beat me twice
In your life.
in my life.
I could be good boy, pal.
No. You see, when I was much younger, people said that I believe I still do. It's a bit aged now, a bit tattered with life, but I had an angelic face. So I got away with a lot of things.
Yeah.
But I'm also...
Are you among the 10 that was cast from heaven?
No. But Michael, listen to this. I had a very adventurous elder brother and a very curious third brother. So both of them did enough bad that when I did bad,
You're still in comparison.
Didn't show on the radar.
But it just meant that looking at what my father did helped me. So even to date, when something goes wrong, the first thing I'll hear myself saying is, "We'll solve it."
Because you are mirroring
Yes.
what was,
he
shown
displayed,
you
yes.
when you were growing up.
Yes.
I like some of the things you've shared. So it wasn't until you were 16 that your dad first cried for you to see publicly.
Yes.
It wasn't until you were 33 that your dad first hugged you. And it wasn't until he was 80 that he first openly told you, "I love you."
Because
Wow.
he said he was getting closer to the grave, so he had to tell us.
Us.
So then he would publicly say to all of us that he loved us. And in those days, when he says it, even at my age, at that time, it's like thinking, yeah, he does. And it made me feel good.
So he acted it without professing it.
Exactly.
That was a kind of masculine picture
Yeah.
you had.
That's right.
Picking up from the elder Akita.
Yes.
I love that. Robert, what was the kind of masculinity that was modeled for you growing up?
So, not different from what my senior brother Richard is saying. Because I remember, my dad was quite old when he had me, so I have very older
So in effect,
older.
you are a pension baby.
Oh no, very close, very close. Not that very, because I have very senior older siblings, and I mean, he was in construction, and so had a lot of workers, and like Patrick was saying, sometimes in an attempt to get them to do what they needed to do, raise his voice, and actually he was called master. So that even at home, sometimes, I mean, we called him dad, but people will come home and master, I'm looking for master. So that's how it was. But I mean, we were celebrated. I was celebrated. I felt loved. It was a stable home. We didn't have issues that I felt my dad could not solve.
Yes.
We were catered for. It was well, and that was the kind of masculinity I saw, and it kept even getting better with his age as he was growing and became a business pain, and you saw his much more fatherly role, even extending to the entire community, not just us as a family. And then, the shouting was coming down, but every now and then,
Oh yes.
it will show up if you misbehave. It will show up. So that was the kind I had. But I mean, everybody. We had so many people in our house, not just blood siblings, but cousins, nephews, people who were just passing through as friends and actually staying over. And we all felt cared for, loved, not in the manner that, like Richard is saying, it will be expressed, but we felt that, if there is something that's needed, it will be provided, and he had your back. That was so assuring. I mean, in every time there was not a moment you felt that, what's going to happen at home? You're uncertain. You don't know. Is this the right place for me? You felt this is your home, and you were proud of the family heritage and to be there, and it was done for good. So that was what. I mean, it's just grace and being fortunate. I know sometimes it's not the experience everybody will have, but that's was mine.
All right. Patrick, how was masculinity modeled for you?
I think it puts a very high demand on you as a young person growing up. Expectation was so high. Because we kept on hearing, but whilst we were being socialized, we kept on hearing that, you are a man, and because you are a man, you must behave differently from a woman. They will tell me that, for your sister, about critical, beauty contest, but for me, just to let you know that, look, for the woman, that is what you were told that don't follow your sister. You must carve this thing for yourself, a path for yourself.
Because a higher responsibility is
placed on you. Right. Then they will also compare you to your uncles. Have you seen this? Your uncle, he's doing well, he's doing this, he's doing this. So you notice that even when you go to school and you even have, not even a fail, but a pass mark, you felt that you were a failure.
Yes.
You one way or the other, it's as if you have been conscientized to believe that. So your humanness is defined by what you do. And therefore, as a young person that you are not able to sometimes decipher, you notice that you start having problems, identity issues, because at one stage you are supposed to be hard, you are supposed to be this, you are supposed to be achieved, you are supposed to get A's in your class, you are supposed to do this. So that demand on you can itself create a problem for you, But I think along the line, I was able to have that self-awareness and not be bothered by some of the things that they were demanding or saying, because I think at a very early in life, I got to know that this is the kind of path I want to take. So a lot of those things did not bother me, you know. But still, you still needed to work on some of the other areas, you know, where, you know, the expectation, the demand. And sometimes these things come, you take these things into your marriage, into your other relationships, where you feel that, yes, you are the man and therefore you're supposed to provide everything. But meanwhile, there's somebody there who is supposed to help. And when we say help, what does it mean? It means the person is with you, you know. And I always use this analogy. You take 4x4s, they have auxiliary gears. They are helping gears. So they help you function, you know. But sometimes we feel that when the helping gears are helping us, then we are losing who we are. They are helping. We are not supposed to lose who we are. We are supposed to function, you know. So most of the time, for instance, if you take generally human beings, our brain, we change it through chemically, or we change it through function. Chemical means that's what we usually attribute most of the time to women, you know, that there are a lot of chemical changes going on, and therefore it affects their moods and all those things. For men, it's more of function. So although we also have our chemical issues and all those things, but it's most of the time more in the woman, because they are ovulating, the chemical issues. Even sometimes the food we eat can even change our dynamics and all that. Yeah. So one of the key things that we need to understand is the fact that, yes, you may be going through, or you've been told some things, but you need to sit down as an adult and ask yourself whether those things that you were programmed with are true.
And are serving your needs.
And are serving your needs now. You need to be able to challenge some of the things you were taught. You know, you're dealing with a couple, and the man feels some way. The man feels that he's a man, so when he said the woman mustn't speak. You know, when it happens like that, you realize that you are dealing with a very difficult situation, you know, because it is not him. It's because of how he's been brought up. Yeah. And he feels that once he speaks, everybody must keep quiet. Meanwhile, you're on the wrong path. You're on the wrong path. You know, and even sometimes the person who is helping you is much more intelligent in certain areas than you. Yeah. And it's just a matter of just listening to the person, and your life will be easy. But because you've been told you are a man, and then, you know, you begin behaving, you know, misbehaving, let me put it that way. So I think that we should be able to look at ourselves functionally and be able to, you know, rework on some of the concept that we've internalized over the period, you know, and also not to be worried about many of the things that we have to actually challenge the beliefs that we have been given. Grown up, yes, we have to challenge some of those beliefs, because they're not serving our purpose today. They're actually harming us or hurting us today, and we need to be able to confront those issues, beliefs, and work and speak against, and then actually change. You know, yes, like Richard is saying that maybe your father never said those things to you, but what about you? Now? Why can't you say that to your spouse? Why can't you say that to your children today?
You can't give what you don't have.
Oh no, you can't.
Yeah, no, but again, that's what we are saying, that you have seen something. You have seen that it wasn't done for you. Yeah. You know, it's just like saying that when you were going to school, you were not wearing shoes, so your children should also not wear shoes. You know, things have changed. So I think that much as it wasn't done for you, and yes, you can't give what you don't have, but you can learn to go and collect what you don't have and come and give it to them. You know, I think we can still learn, we can still be exposed.
No,
and today,
right.
The knowledge is there.
That's what Alvin Toffler said. The illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. And so all of us, we've got to unlearn some of the old templates that are not serving our needs in the 21st century. And then learn new habits, new practices, new ways of loving and leading as men. If any part of this felt uncomfortable, that's okay. Growth usually is. This conversation is not about getting it right. It's about getting it honest. Because when men start asking better questions, they start leading better lives. If this spoke to you, like, subscribe to the channel, comment below, and share it with another man. Let's keep the conversation going. This is Menspiration. This is Lead Africa TV. And this is how we begin to lead differently.